Welcome, everyone, to the latest in a series of Federal Way Symphony podcasts. I'm very, very pleased to welcome to our screen my old friend Bob Bassett. This is kind of an historic occasion because what you are seeing right now is the first time that Bob and I have actually seen one another in 47 years. We got our master's degree the same day from California Institute of the Arts back in 1977. Went our several ways. We'll talk a little bit about how we came back together. But Bob, let me just extend a warm welcome and welcome to the Federal Way Symphony family.
Well, thank you, Adam. As you know, I'm very, very pleased that you've chosen to do this piece of mine. I'm looking forward to hearing the recording. It's so wonderful to have the symphony taking it on. So thank you very much.
About 2 years ago, I'd have to go back and check the date. Got this lovely email from Bob, whom of course I remembered as a fabulous pianist. Told me a little bit about himself and that he had, since graduating, uh, taken up a lawyer's career and latterly had been composing. And he sent me a recording of a piece of his for string orchestra, which fit perfectly into the Federal Way Symphony's current policy of performing good works for chamber orchestra. And I heard it and I said, I have to do this piece. So I wrote to Bob and I said, can we please do the Northwest premiere? And he graciously said yes. So, Bob, I want to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about your journey since Cal Arts, how you gravitated towards composition, and specifically about this beautiful piece.
Okay. Well, since Cal Arts, I moved back to the Denver area where I'm from, and through a series of events, kept performing, kept playing different styles of music, classical, jazz as well, and then had the opportunity to go to law school. So I took that opportunity. My whole career kind of went off to a different direction. While I was practicing law, though, I continued to perform. I continued to practice Bach fugues, preludes and fugues every morning almost. And I followed this career, and it took me literally all over the world. I represented mostly the natural resources industries, and especially toward the end of my career, focused on sustainable development and corporate social responsibility, and was called to do seminars on those topics all over the world, which was fascinating. Well, I had kept up my interest in music and had a lot of ideas floating in the back of my head for years. So when I retired, I said, well, good. Now I can spend most of my time composing. What I try to do is make music that's accessible. Music is a three-legged stool. There's the composer, the performer, and the audience. And I want to write music where the musicians can look at a piece of music and play it without struggling to understand what I want.
Mhm.
And I want them to make music that the audience will then enjoy and have an experience of.
Mhm.
So accessibility is really one of my key goals in uh, in my compositions.
Mhm. But when a piece of music is intelligent, isn't pandering, and at the same time can open its arms and say to the audience, "Please, I'm meeting you halfway," as your music did, I'm thrilled. There's a wonderful quote where Stravinsky was being grilled by a bunch of reporters. Tell us about how do you compose? Describe your music. And he just looked at them and he said, all I can tell you, gentlemen, is that music must sing and dance.
I like
And
that.
your beautiful piece, there are these moments of drop dead gorgeous singing harmonies, and then there's this rhythm that permeates it. This kicky little yada bada bada da bada bada da bada bada, and it never overstays its welcome. It's fabulous. It's a wonderful, wonderful miniature. How you manage to pack so much into circa 8 or 9 minutes is a miracle.
Well, thank you, thank you. It You asked me about inspiration, and the piece is called Lodore, and it's named after the gates of Lodore, which is a section of the Green River that flows down from Colorado into Utah through Dinosaur National Monument. And at the very beginning, it's flat water in a wide open area that then goes into a very steep canyon, which is the Gates of Lodore, which was a poem that I forget the author right now, but it's a poem that John Wesley Powell knew. And so he named this geologic feature the Gates of Lodore. So you enter the canyon, and the entire canyon is a series of what you described. There's beautiful, beautiful sections of absolute flat water that are just peaceful as can be, whirlpools perhaps. And then there's a lot of white water, a lot of rapids. And I think this piece is not programmatic, but it reflects those differences. The da 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 da, that constant rhythm, which is either African or Indonesian from the gamelan. I'm not sure which, but there's a rhythm to a river. And I listen a lot, particularly when I'm outdoors. What am I hearing? And what am I hearing? And a lot of times there are rhythms in nature. There are calm places in nature. There are furious things in nature, but they all have their own particular sound. And what fascinates me then as a composer is the form that those take. So in Lodore, you have the form of the really busy rhythmic sections, followed by calm sections, followed by busy sections. And hopefully they balance out. And at the end of the day, you're done with the river trip and you say, wow, that was fantastic.
Yes.
So from the score, what kind of challenges does that present to a conductor?
Um, Getting back to what you said, a piece that musicians will be able to play, given the sorts of demands that are made on musicians today and that all the members of the Federal Way Symphony face, I don't think that many. I think the rhythmic sections are actually going to come together quite well. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I in the quieter sections, which are very chordal, just for me, maintaining a good balance, making sure that everybody is using the same sort of vibrato or occasionally lack thereof. I would say I would be almost going, harkening back to our pre-podcast discussion, almost an organ-like texture for some of those places. Where every stop is speaking and is part of the harmonic fabric. So those are the parts that I mean, they won't be impossible, but those are the parts that I'm really determined will just be jaw-droppingly beautiful and ethereal. Please come and join us for this exciting Northwest premiere of Bob Bassett's Lodore. The concert is also going to feature a late symphony by Joseph Haydn, a concerto grosso by Vivaldi, which is going to feature a whole handful of Federal Way Symphony instrumentalist soloists, and accordionist Jamie Mashler is going to join us for three tangos for accordion and orchestra by the great Astor Piazzolla. We're performing this concert Sunday, April 14th, 2:30 p.m., the Federal Way Performing Arts and Entertainment Center. Please be there.